Hi, fourth graders. Okay, so we're moving on. Lesson 112. We are reducing fractions. Now, you kind of got to jump a ways back into your book. We are skipping a couple lessons, and you should be on page 711 in your math book, and then you need your math notes out. Okay, reducing fractions. When we reduce, reducing is kind of like taking away. We're going to make numbers smaller. So we've talked about equivalent fractions, and now we're going to reduce equivalent fractions and reduce fractions in general. So not all fractions can be reduced though. That's something we really need to remember. Right here we have 4/6. I'm showing you that 4 sections out of 6 are colored in. That's equivalent to 2/3. But notice that 4/6 are bigger numbers than 2/3. They mean the same, I just want the smaller numbers. Smaller numbers are always 1 easier to divide and 2 easier to multiply. So we do need to remember though that not every single fraction can be divided. To reduce a fraction, we need to use a fraction that is equivalent to 1 or equal to 1. And I drew my 1 around my fraction that is equal to 1. Remember, when we have the same number on our numerator and the same number in our denominator, it actually is equal to 1. Now, that could be 3/3, 4/4, whatever you want. To reduce 4/6, we actually need to use the fraction 2/2, and we need to divide both the top and the bottom, so both 4 and 6, by 2. So when we're reducing, we're taking away, we're dividing. So we take 4 and divide it by 2, so 2 divided by 4, and we got 2. Then we're going to take 6 divided by 2, and we're going to take 2 that goes into 6 3 times. Now notice that dividing 4/6 by 2/2 got me to a smaller number, 2/3. Okay, so then right there we divided and we reduced a fraction. We made our fraction smaller. Now back up here, there's the same fraction. They mean the same thing. We just cut our parts. We didn't make our parts smaller. We made our parts we made our parts bigger by dividing, but we made our numbers smaller. Okay, so let's jump into example number 1 because it's always the easiest way to figure out what we're doing. So we need to write the reduced form of each of these fractions. So the first fraction they gave us was 6/8. So here's my fraction. I've got 6/8. Okay, well, it's kind of hard to see. I'll use a different marker. We'll use blue. How about that? We've got 6/8. Actually, that one doesn't look like it's any darker. All right, last try. Erase these. Last try. 6/8. Okay, so the numerator and the denominator are 6 and 8. The numbers can be divided by 2. 1, they're both even, and 2 can divide that fraction. So I'm going to divide both top and my bottom number by 2/2. Remember that 2/2 is still saying we have 1. Don't forget. Okay, 2/2. So 6/8 divided by 2/2. Let's see. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And 2 goes into 8 4 times. So my fraction is, my reduced fraction of 6/8 is 3/4. Okay? All right. And if I wanted to show a picture of it, it's in your book. I could take 2 circles, cut 1 circle into 8 parts, shade 6 of them, and then I could show you that the same amount is circled is done when I take a circle and divide it into 4 sections and color 3 of them in. I'll go ahead and do that quickly for you guys. Let's see, I can divide this one into 8 sections. They're not going to be even, but they'll be as close as even as we can get. So I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then I'm going to show you that it's equivalent to if I took a part that's cut into 4 sections and I colored 3 of them. We could see that both this circle and this circle are equal because this amount is left open. All right, let's do 3/6. So we have 3/6, and we need to divide it both top and bottom. Now 2 does not go into 3. You can't evenly divide 2 by 3, so instead I know that 3 goes into both the top and bottom. So I'm going to divide the top and the bottom by 3. Remember, my 3 is equal to a 1. 3 goes into 3 1 time. 3 goes into 6 3 times. So I know that my fraction 3/6, oops, it doesn't go into it 3 times. What am I thinking? It goes into it 2 times. Silly me. I know that 3/6 is equivalent to 1/2. Now I can show you again when I cut those into circles. I can show you my 6 parts. Let's see if I could do 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll just do 5, 6. And it's equivalent to 1/2. If I color in 3 of them, 1, 2, 3, and I color in 1/2, they are equivalent. 3/6 is equivalent to 1/2. Okay, reducing fractions is all about making those numbers smaller, and it's dividing, but we need to make sure that we divide by a number that is equal to 1, and that means that we have to have a fraction that is both the same on the top and the bottom that is equally divided into the numbers that we're trying. So let's do our last one. We have 6/7. 6/7. Now, I know that I need to divide by a number that is equivalent to 1. Now, I don't know any numbers that go both into 6 and that go both into 7. So here I am. I'm going to go ahead and try. I'm just going to do 1. Divide by 1. Well, 1 goes into 6 times. 1 goes into 7 times. I cannot divide by 2. 2 goes into 6 3 times, but 2 doesn't go into 7, so I can't equally do that. And I can't go 3, even though 3 goes into 6. 3 does not go into 7, and I can't find any number that actually goes into 7 because 7 is what? Prime or composite. 7 is actually prime because it only has 2 factors, 1 and itself, 7. So numbers that have fractions that have prime numbers actually cannot be reduced. Okay, and if I were to try to draw this out, I wouldn't get anything equal. I would just draw 6/7, shaded 6 of them in, and then have to draw 6/7 again. Okay, so I know that I put A on the front side. I'm trying to use as much space as possible, but I would like you to go ahead and do your lesson practice. And I try to leave you enough room between each fraction. You can draw if you would like. You don't have to. And you can also squeeze letter A up here. Do letter A. I'll do letter A with you. We're going to write the reduced form of 2/4. So here's my 2/4. I am going to go ahead and try right away to divide the top and the bottom by 2. I know 2 goes into 2, and I know 2 goes into 4. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 2 goes into 4 2 times. So I have 2/4 is equivalent to 1/2. I just reduced it. This is my answer. I could just write 1/2. I'd love to see all of your work. So please, if you already know how to make this fraction smaller, I still want to see all your work so that way if we do make any mistake, I can go ahead and pinpoint exactly what you did wrong. Okay, if you guys have any issues whatsoever, any problems, or even questions, I can Zoom with you and I can show you what needs to be done, how to fix what we're doing. Any questions can be answered, so please let me know. Okay, so go ahead and do your lesson practice A through H. Take a picture and post it to the correct activity on Seesaw. All right, good luck.